We've partnered with Bethesda Game Studios to build a filming model of the Frontier ship from their upcoming game, Starfield. I couldn't be more excited for this project. It's a celebration of the exact kind of practical effects filmmaking I'm obsessed with and that we all love. Follow along over the coming weeks as the tested team and I embark on a scale miniature build that combines the latest fabrication technologies with my favorite old school model making techniques. Let's get started. Hey everybody, Adam Savage in my cave where I'm usually alone, but not today because I have so much work in front of me. I need help from the whole team. Guys, we have been asked by Bethesda Game Studios to make a ship from their new game, Starfield. Awesome. These are configurable, user customizable ships, and we are building one of the first ships you get access to. It's called a Frontier ship, and here is our quarry.
Yes. All right.
Yeah. Now we're not only building this, and we're going to build it actually about this size, which I think is around 75th scale. We are also building an enlarged cutaway model of the cockpit. Yeah. We're getting to play in 2 different scales. It's tons of detail. We have all these assets from the game studio, but they are not the assets we need to do the printing that we need. So first up, Sean.
Yes.
We're going to need your expertise, and also Daryl to...
Yeah, because I can't tackle all this myself.
to turn these game files into printable STLs.
Yeah, and this does, you know what, just glancing at this does not look as bad as some production assets I got. There's a lot of detail already in there, so it shouldn't be too bad. It will be time consuming.
Caveat here on that is these are all modular pieces, but they need to be able to be attached mechanically and detached mechanically, because ultimately at the end what I'm hoping is we end up with a ship that we can actually put on a rod and shoot on a motion control screen.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So all right, so we need some nuts and bolts and some actual like mechanical stuff.
Yeah,
All
core
right.
that we
So
can mount to.
We can handle that.
Mel, there's lights all over this thing, creating drama and scale. We need lights inside. We need lights outside. Okay. I'm counting on you for electronics.
All right, I got you. Yeah, let's make the thrusters go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh no, totally thruster. Like I'm hoping part of our shot is that the thrusters go in camera and you see that light kick and they, the classic sci-fi shot. Yeah.
And then we got to turn, a 3D print that kind of looks like this into
All gray.
this
Yep.
NASA punk aesthetic.
Yeah.
Kate?
Yeah, no problem. Sure. I just one coat of spray paint and
I am so excited about the level of weathering they've already added to this.
It's absolutely gorgeous, and you can tell this ship has been lived in, it's been loved on, it's been maybe hurt a little bit, and it's gorgeous. The fact that it's modular will make it a lot easier for us to take parts away, do what we do to them, put them back together. It's going to look amazing.
So we only have a few weeks to do this. A good portion of that is going to be 3D printing.
Yeah.
And it will be all hands on deck for, several weeks. But we are going to end up with a shootable, real motion control.
Okay, this is going to be awesome.
Yes.
Let's get started.
Yeah, this is the dream team. You guys are on board?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm in,
Excellent. Let's get started.
100%.
Okay, the project begins in earnest.
I know. So we've done this kind of thing before where we're getting production models either from games or film, and then you got to get them to the point where they're 3D printable. And that's always an unknown. Like sometimes it goes relatively smoothly, sometimes it's really bumpy and there's a lot of work. Yeah. I was a little intimidated by this. There's so much detail on this ship. I was a little concerned at first about like
the hero ship. This is the Frontier ship.
So this is actually the original production file that they sent us. And what it has is it has all kinds of extra stuff. Like there's actually a geo for like the thruster flame. There's a lot of markers for I don't know what. And then what they do a lot of times is there'll be geometry plates for decals or textures or depth maps, which will make things look deeper than they are and add extra detail. So this is what we had to deal with. And then basically what I had to do was clean out all of this stuff. So all of this stuff is items that I had to remove from the model in order to get us to the point where it could be
floating
printable.
in space. They're not connected.
And that's nothing against them or anything. That's just the nature of the beast of taking this kind of a thing and making it to the point where it can be printable. Yeah. And then basically once all of this stuff was cleaned out, so this is all like decals, the thruster stuff, positioning stuff that we didn't need. At that point, we basically divided it up into its different pieces. So this is how I envisioned like these were going to be the 3D printing parts. And I got to say, like at the time we got this early enough, I didn't realize that all the ships are going to be modular. And I'm like, this is a delight to divide up because it's made to snap together. So it actually lent itself well to dividing up for 3D printing purposes.
And you mentioned like just how much geometry is in this, because for video games, some of that stuff can be fake with textures and shaders. But I feel like scale is going to be a really important thing, which also means there are going to be certain things that may be tough to 3D print. Or some elements that are larger that they might not have the full geometry in the model.
Yes. And the geometry can be kind of chunky. So this is the original engine on the left. This is my redo on the right.
Yeah.
And so you can see here we get faceting from the geo because when they render it, they have tricks to make it look smoother than it actually is and stuff like that. So and then all these different color things are different panels, different pieces that are all stitched together to make the entire engine. And like we can see here, like the hoses are and the pipes are kind of chunky and blocky. So the trick is you have to take all of these separate pieces, combine them into one piece and smooth things out as much. So this is the kind of like the before and after of smoothing things out as much as I could. And then combining this, now these are all one piece. All of the engines then are little separate nozzles. Gorgeous. Yeah, so that it can be time consuming, but everything came together fine, and we were able to hollow things out and make them printable and everything.
And there are certain elements here. I know we're going to print some of the struts, but there are going to be rods that maybe it makes more sense to have real hardware.
Absolutely, yeah. Like there's all this strut work that was in the original. Like this stuff would be very hard to 3D print, like all these little bars and stuff. So what we did is I measured these and I removed them from the 3D model. So for the 3D print, these will be left out and then we'll use real brass or something similar to put those in. And same thing, there's all this hull railing. So I bought stuff that we can form by hand and put that in, and it will read really nicely.
Kind of like a real model kit.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, also like a real model kit, the way you're slicing it up, they're going to need to fit together, not just like a flat surface.
Yep.
Right? They're going to need to have more than just keying. What are you thinking in terms of how they're going to actually attach?
So, yeah, there had been discussions like we'll just literally glue the parts together, but because we're doing the motion control shot and we're doing electronics, that's very permanent. And if we need to get in there and do any work, or like if there's a problem with the motion control rig, we need to be able to take it apart. So what I'm thinking right now is that this whole top section, top hull, docking ring area, this is going to be about 12 inches long. And I think that's where we'll put the electronics. So Mel can pack all of her boards and stuff in there, and that will be magnetic so that we can pop it off and mess with that if need be, and then pop it back on. So there'll be some other parts like that that'll be easy to remove and so we can get access to stuff.
This looks like a ton of work. I know so much of it is not digital processing, but I can't wait to get this printed, and we'll start warming up our printers.
Yeah,
get those files from you guys.
Definitely,
start setting them over.
Some of the biggest prints that we've done.
Like multiple days.
Yeah,
I'm talking about.
Definitely.
All right.
We're in the tested 3D printing lab where we have the Formlabs 3L and all of the accoutrements. We just got done printing the main hull, which is one of the most important parts of the ship because it has to sheathe the metal block that Adam's going to make. So I think this is like a 2-day print, and we have success. And I'm particularly excited because we are one of the first people to have the 2L build plate, which is the flex build plate that they made for this guy. And having done a lot of prints on this, getting these giant prints off can be challenging and a lot of scraping. So this is pretty slick. It's spring steel, so we're done. That makes things so much easier. So now we're going to wash these guys up. We have two stations. We have the one that's just the tank over here, and this is what I call the dirty wash that we use over and over again to get the bulk of the resin off. And then after this soaks for about 10 minutes and do a little scrubbing, we'll move it over to the final clean wash. And then we'll be able to cure this so that it's finally done. So let's go into the alcohol bath, and we'll come back about 10 minutes later. So we've moved this from the dirty bath, which is basically just soak and hand scrub, and that gets most of the stuff off. So at this point, we're gonna move it over to the final wash, which has much cleaner alcohol in it. And we are going to do another 10-minute agitated wash. So lay them on their side so it gets alcohol up inside there. All right. There she goes.
All right, Sean, you've been analyzing, you've been converting, you've been printing. How are we doing?
This is the kind of thing that we have done before, but we have never done it on this scale, and it took a lot longer than I expected. So let me show you what we got.
I'm curious about what aspects took longer.
All right. So this is
the master map of everything.
Yeah. So basically, we've taken the ship and we've divided it up in basically a super awesome model kit. And when we decided that we were going to be doing the motion control, that kind of changed the parameters a bit because we were like, ooh, it's got to be a lot stronger than we initially envisioned.
Right, because making a model for display is very different than putting it on a mover.
Right, and we knew that this was going to be big enough and sitting on its landing gear, so we had done some provisions and planning for that. Right. And then we kind of expanded it a little bit with that. So
I'm also noticing some of these parts are like, am I correct? I'm only seeing one front landing gear because that's bilaterally symmetrical and flips.
Exactly.
Same thing with the engine pods. Okay.
Exactly. Yep. That's the beauty of 3D modeling, that we can do that. So, all right, so let's actually bring up some of the stuff.
I've specifically not looked at these. Right, I'm very excited.
So we got some landing gear here. And
do you have threaded inserts in there?
Yes, because I've done this enough and this is big enough that I was worried about strengthening this. So we're gonna put steel rods in these landing gear.
Right.
Okay, and then we have a key system.
Oh, look at that.
That they'll key together and then screw in, right? And then,
very positive.
And this part is all printed solid, so it can be as strong as possible. And we're using the Foreign Labs Tough 2000, which you know is a
highly stable
special effects guys.
My effects friends, that's the stuff they say is the strongest, most stable, and the least shifting in terms of dimension.
Yeah, and that's been my experience as well. So that's what we printed everything out of. Now we hollowed most of the parts, like say for the thruster here, because there's that allows us to put lights in. It keeps down the weight, but these definitely need to be solid. So what we have here is the landing gear and the thrusters. I'm particularly proud of this, guys, the cockpit. And I did it model kit style. So we did the front in all clear, and then I'm gonna vinyl cut masks for you and Kate, and then you can paint the framework.
Unbelievable.
And then we can do a little lighting from inside.
I mean, we'll never be able to get that a little more, it'll be hard to get that more polished.
Well, and you totally can. You can get this very see-through, but because we're not doing the finished interior, we're gonna actually leave it a little cloudy.
Okay, so we could have glowing lights in there.
Exactly.
Oh, it's like a warm,
and then it kind of slots in the front there.
That's really satisfying. Sorry, I'm just gonna take a moment to enjoy that. Our own custom model kit. Now, this isn't everything yet.
No, so we are actually printing right now on the giant printer our key parts, which are our hull sections.
Okay.
And this is where I have the task for you.
Oh, this is my thing.
Yeah, this is your thing. So this is going to be the core of our ship.
That's my plate.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I have drawn out here for you is all the XY locations for all the holes and everything we need for mounting everything. So you had drawn out plans for me for doing the clamping mechanism for the rod that will be attached to the robot arm for motion control.
Dude.
So you have your homework.
No, that'll be fun. This is that'll be a quick little one, and 0.7. Yeah, I've got scrap that'll fit that.
All right, cool. And I'll check on how high we can make that.
I'm very excited. Personally, I never did this, making the core mount of a spaceship, and it's a tiny, dumb little yet rich and storied history. Because I'm always, when I first learned that inside those models were these huge chunks of aluminum for latching from every possible angle.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
I can't believe we're going to get to do a motion control shot.
I know. All right, to the machines.
All right.
All right. So that's the dead center of the supporting block. And what I want to achieve here is 0.575, 0.575. Okay. So, there you go. Come on. That's it. 0. Now I want 0.575. Yeah, this is it. Right. Okay. 575. And this is also 0.575. Okay, that's the first hole. Okay, that's great. Out. Okay, so that's good, and that's done. I need to make the block. That's the hardest part. That's fine. I'm trimming this roughly to size with the table saw, which can totally cut aluminum all day long, but I can't. I don't think I'm going to be able to get a real positive grab on it. Oh, that's not bad. All right, let's try that. Wait. Actually, it's not. Does that feel solid? It's, will this let go in the middle? Because that would be a terrible disaster. All right. And this will go past? Yes, it will. Okay, great. One last thing I want to do. Yeah, I'm just going to do this and put this here and use it to hold it down. Great. Yep, good. Oh. This is a unique issue, very specific issue. I have here a piece of aluminum with 2 edges that are right from the extruder, but all the other edges are cut edges. And I have no guarantee that any of these are square to these 2. So the first thing I need to do, I basically need to create this into a block where all the surfaces are perpendicular to each other. And I'm going to use this floor as my reference surface. I'm going to face this, then with those, I'll face that, I'll use that to parallelize and then perpendicularize. I know that's not actually a word. There's a little bit of stickum on the bottom on that reference surface, and I have to get rid of it because it could throw off all my measurements by the thickness of that tape. Now I have 2 reference surfaces, the top and the bottom. Nice. I'll tell you why I'm laughing. I'm laughing with glee because when your mill is unsquare, i.e. off by this, by the tiniest degree, you won't see what you see here, which is you see marks going this way and marks going that way. That means it's very, very, very close to square. I'm never going to say it's exactly square. All right, so that's great. Now I can bring him up, bring him out. That's great. Okay. I don't know why I was thinking of 1.75. That's why I say all this stuff out loud to myself. It works most of the time. 1.5, 1.5. So if what we've got here is, I'm 20 thou above 1.8. Oh, that's... Just want to, I needed this to be 1.5 inches square, 1.5 by 1.5. Very pleased, very pleased. I'm pleased with myself. Yes, I am. All right, so now I need to drill the 4 holes that are in the corners of this, and I need to know the center, and that's what the next step is. Out, out. You live there, you live there. You come back. Oh, right, yeah. You go. Yeah. Oh, whoa, no, yeah, yeah. That does work?
I think we're gonna be good. I gotta cure this. It's fat once it comes out of the alcohol bath because it's absorbed alcohol. Right. So I need to cure it, and that'll shrink it down to, and see if I need to do any sanding or anything.
Well, once I have all these measurements right, if you need me to pull off, 10 thou off the side of this, it's not a big deal.
All right. Yep. We'll see. I'm gonna go cure it, and we'll see what happens.
By the way, 1.5, 1.5. I'm having fun. You knew I would do that. There's our business end. That is the clamp. And so the way this is built is this block mounts to the plate like this. And then a screw goes in here to clamp down the mounting rod, which is 1/2 inch of hardened steel, and that goes through this hole. So we're going to put it all together. Now normally when you have through holes like this for these bolts, which are 1/4-20s, you would normally drill them out not at 1/4 inch. You'd drill them out at like something just slightly above that to give yourself a little bit of float tolerance on those holes. I did not do that here. Since I'm using the mill, I drilled all these the exact same set of centers, and thus the through hole is exactly 250 thou. It's 1/4 inch. It's a recipe for disaster, but luckily we averted it. Okay, so... and the bolt, yeah, here we go. Washer. Now, one end of this was damaged. That end was damaged. This end was not. Oh, that's great. That is the press fit of, it's just what you want. So I'm just going to torque this down a little bit. Actually, you know what I can do here? Check this out. I'm going to grab this in my vise. This is harder than this, so I'm not worried about marring this with the vise. And so tightening it. Ah, yeah, I can move it, but just barely. That's fantastic. Fabulous. The last thing I have to do is drill a set of 6 or 8 holes up each side of this thing, and then we're done. But that was the hard part. I have built several rod clamps like this in the past. This is the best execution of a rod clamp I have ever achieved. It's just feeling happy about that. Sean, this is without a doubt the biggest model kit I've had on the bench.
It's a lot of parts.
It's a real model kit. And these didn't begin as printable files.
No.
These are game files.
Yes. So there was a lot of cleanup and making things manifold and hollowing them out and all that kind of stuff. So in theory, everything here should go together. And I made it so that it's either going together with screws or magnets because I was concerned about breakage.
Yep.
We're doing this motion control shot,
Yeah.
and if we need to take it apart for transport or just service anything or get to the electronics, blah 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 blah.
It's like old set practice.
Yeah.
I don't want to close off any of my avenues to access.
And there are a few parts where it's just kind of unavoidable, but whenever I could make a removable connection, I did so.
Okay.
So
we're assembling.
yeah, we need to do a dry fit of this whole thing.
Okay.
So we already did. You have this. We got our block for the motion control, and then
Yep.
our landing gears on all screw into here so that
Okay.
it's nice and strong. So I would say the first thing we're going to start with is the main hull, which are
Right,
these
the
two
two
pieces.
halves.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. And this.
So for that, we did figure out that we need to remove our clamping
Yeah.
screw. So you have the back. So yep, that's good.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
And we already tested that all the holes line up, so that's good.
And then that, like that.
Yep. And then basically the way this is working is when we screw the landing gear on, that holds all of that in place.
Right.
Yeah. So landing gear. And we're gonna mount them to this is the landing gear.
Oh,
mounts.
there's two parts. There's shoulders, there's thighs, and
Yep.
there we
and-
go.
Okay.
There's
And there's one more. There
but
we
there
go.
should be one more of
And one
these.
more of
Oh,
these.
there it is.
All right. So one thing we're gonna have to figure out on these is I was concerned about these when I was working on
Oh,
it.
there's 6 of these, and one of these.
There's some extras.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right front.
So they had these little, I guess these are docking clamps. There's a little piece that goes on here,
Mm-hmm.
like so. And I was worried about these. And just in the process of us handling these and cleaning
We've
them up,
snapped some off. Yeah.
So
yeah.
we might want to look at putting like a little metal rod or something in there to hold that instead of this. I don't know.
Well, let's see
kind of work
how
on
it starts to fit together as
Yeah.
we're going. And
All
these
right.
are all labeled.
Yeah. So what we did here is we're using threaded inserts, which I've already put in
Fabulous.
to screw them in. And I did like these big chunky square keys so that they lock and they don't want to rotate on us.
Excellent.
All right. So we're
Where are
going
these?
to-
Where are the feet labeled?
they are not.
Oh.
They're just labeled in my head.
Oh, okay. So, but they're the 4 of them are identical bilaterally. So there's only
Yes.
2 different kinds.
Yeah, and then the mount is different here so that they angle the right way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then I'm assuming do they go like
You are correct.
they do that. They trapezoid
Exactly.
down. Okay. So then
So there's that. And then there's a box of 2-inch socket heads over there, that green box.
okay.
That's what we're going to screw them in with.
Okay, but this was extra. Hold on.
Mhm.
Left
I did
rear.
label those, yes.
So is it that?
You got it.
like that.
Yep.
Okay, so that's
So
left rear.
we screw them into the landing
Yep.
gear with that.
But I want to right rear. Okay, so there's right rear. And then this is, are these also bilaterally symmetrical, these pieces?
No.
Okay.
Because they had to, and I found that out the hard way when I printed all 4 of them that way. And I realized that this hole had to be different for the rear landing gear. It had to be turned.
Gotcha.
So
Okay,
I
so
fixed all
that's a
that.
right,
There's
wait, that's
that.
a right front. Okay, great.
Yep.
Those are all the 4. Okay, so you want me to do this assembly?
Mhm.
Okay.
So-
there's one.
The other thing that we're going to do with the landing gear, and we may not have to do it at this point, is because these are all plastic, they're 3D printed resin.
Yeah.
This is going to have a lot of weight on it, and I'm
Oh,
worried
right.
I'm worried about them torquing inward.
As you should.
So we have steel rods
Fabulous.
that we're going to cut in half, and we're going to slot them into each leg.
Marvelous.
So each leg will have 2 steel rods in it.
I have a angle grinder cutoff wheel
Yeah. So
behind you. On
we
the DeWalt
can
shelf.
we can do that during final assembly or at any point. It's not mission critical. So, well, this hole could have been
Yeah,
drilled
this
down
one.
a little bit.
This one's making me work for a living. This is the one you learn after years of carpal tunnel syndrome of like, if I don't have to grip it, I'm just using my open palms. Okay, so all 4 of these face the front.
There we go. All right.
Rods. Want me to do some cutting?
Sure.
Okay.
Oh.
This is one of those few shop things that I made that actually really has come in great handy over the couple of years since I built it. Thank you.
Because I was worried about these are keyed.
Right.
I was worrying still that if there's going to be too much torque on it. So we do have the option of putting pins in here that you milled holes for.
Mm-hmm.
For our purposes right now, I don't think we need to do that.
I think you're right. I don't think we need to do that right now.
Yeah,
That's
so
fine.
we're just going to screw these
Okay.
into the body, and that's going to hold the shell onto the block.
Okay, and
Yep.
what's front?
This is the front.
That's the front.
That's the
so
front.
it goes like this.
You got it. Yep.
And is it still the 2 inches?
Same ones.
Here, drop that in.
I tried to reuse them whenever I could.
All right.
Yep. Oop, let's do one thing before we put that on.
Yeah.
So these plug in here,
Okay.
and then they should be right up against each other more or less.
Ah. Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. Oh, nice. Great. This is lovely. That guy.
Yep.
Great. And then
In hindsight, I should have made these guys removable like this guy is. Made these removable like
yeah.
this so that we could easily replace them.
so that lives there, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Smart. All right.
wow, it stands on its own.
Cool.
That's great.
That is really cool.
And that's front?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So on the landing gear, one of the kind of scratch building things is there's a series of strut work that goes between here and here.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Oh, little rods?
yep.
Okay.
So I bought brass that
Great.
we can run between all these and assembly because the back
Nice.
has the same setup where they're identical.
Yeah.
So this has this coming out the back and we have the strut work here and here.
That's great. We should be able to cut them close to size and then glue them in thin clear.
Yep, exactly.
We'll cut them close to size and glue them in with thin crazy glue. That
Yep.
should be fast.
Yep.
Okay. What's next?
Okay, so next we can let's do what I'm calling the reactor. I don't know if that's what this is. So
Sure.
we can, if you want, we can tappy. So all these keys. So we have the cockpit key, the rear key. These are going to be number 4 taps.
Okay.
We can do it right into the plastic. We could put inserts in, whichever way. I have them sized that we can tap them right now.
Okay. Yeah, let's tap them right now.
Okay.
And if we turn out to need
We can always
it the other
install
way,
the
we can
inserts
install it the other way.
afterwards. Yeah.
and then this is the tap gets tapped into, yeah?
Yep. Actually, I'll be go the whole way through because we're coming from the bottom
Great.
on both of these. All right.
And we're coming from the bottom, yes?
Yep. Yep.
All right, then I'm going to tap it from the bottom.
That's for our cargo hold. Perfect.
And we may need to put inserts into there, but this is okay. So we're going off the back.
Mm-hmm. Back there. So that's the what I'm
okay.
calling the reactor. I don't know if that's.
Oh,
actually what
right.
it
So
is.
this right. Okay. So
Yeah.
this comes in from here. Oh yeah.
Maybe
this
we
is
could
great.
do 3/4. I don't know. Yeah.
No, that's
Yeah.
great.
Cool. And we won't see that. It'll be hidden.
And you got other washers?
Nope. I only need it for that.
Oh,
one
you only need it for that
only
one.
for that boo-boo hole.
Oh, great. Okay. So
while you have it upside down, let us put. We got the cockpit. It slots on the same way. We do not need a washer for that. Now, what we did, we had discussed this
Yeah.
previously. We did put holes in to use a rod for the cockpit if we felt that it got saggy. I don't think we're going to need it,
I think
but
you're
I'm
probably
glad we
right.
put it in just in case.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
All right. While we're upside down,
That's great.
we might as well put in the
Cargo hold.
Actually, this is, see that bad cargo hold right there?
Yeah,
Grab
it
that
did.
one.
Yeah,
let's
this business.
talk about this a bit. This was I didn't, so this is version 1 of our cargo hold.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't put enough supports in this area and it failed. But it's actually good that it failed because there is other issues.
Yeah.
So anytime you're hollowing out stuff for 3D printing, especially for resin printing, as it cures, if you have like really thin walls, especially big, thin, flat walls, it wants to warp on you.
Right.
So I did a few boo-boos here. So number 1, I missed that there's these ribs that are decorative, like
Yeah.
support green. And you can see how they're all wavy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just missed that. I fell below the tolerances for
wow.
Right.
That waviness isn't in the drawing.
No, when it cured, so you do your alcohol bath and then you cure it with UV light,
Uh-huh.
and it just buckled because it was so thin.
So you end up making those thicker.
Right. So
Okay.
here's number 2.
Oh, so the failure allowed you to see
and
before
fix
you.
my mess ups. The other problem is if you look here, you see how it's all bulgy here at the
Yeah, yeah.
windows.
Is
So
that just not enough support?
I didn't put enough fins in. And that's where you really start to appreciate toy and not even toy manufacturers, just like manufacturing in general, when you take something apart
Yeah.
and it's got those standoffs and ribbings and reinforcements for like the screw hole.
Yeah, yeah.
You're like, oh, those are there for a reason. So this failed print was a blessing because that allowed me to go back and beef these up so they printed nicely.
They look
I
gorgeous.
put in a whole bunch more ribs. So if you look inside,
Yep,
like
yep,
how many
I
ribs
see
I
it.
have versus now, and this one turned out perfect.
It's beautiful.
So I'm happy with that.
Amazing. This way or that way? This way.
That way. So this is the portion that you and Kate are going to scratch build the loading ramp.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This guy, because I knew that we might need access to these screws
Mm-hmm.
and maybe for wiring back here, this is going to magnet in. So
Oh,
it
okay.
does socket in, and we can leave it like that for now, and we can put the magnets in later.
Great.
But it'll have magnets here and here so it doesn't sag.
Marvelous.
And
That's great.
look good.
Okay.
We can flip it now. Yes.
Dude, it's starting to.
It looks like a spaceship.
It really does. Also a little like an animal.
That's okay. That's
What's it-
cool.
Oh, there it is. I was like, it's standing on something.
Let's do the main engines, which are those big guys right there.
So the main engines go on like this?
Other way. Yep.
Like that.
Yep. So if I figured this out right,
That is really lovely.
I might have to sand these keys a little bit, but they screw in from the back.
Okay.
So number 4 again, right there.
Ah,
So we can tap those holes.
okay.
Engines number 1.
How does this attach here?
This has a screw in the bottom.
Got it. Okay. Do you have other? Is there other stuff holding this up?
Well,
the only question I ask is because once we get lights in here and these, there's a lot of weight cantilevering off of here.
Well, I did put a place to put pins in here.
And then I think yeah, I like pins.
Pins. We could do pins. I made holes for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so close.
Yeah, I know.
So when you're designing these socket and pin things, it's a fine line getting the tolerances just down right.
Yeah.
And it can, even if you do get it right, even the orientation of the print can affect it because you get like stepping lines from the print.
Because circles aren't round.
Yeah. Or
or
sometimes you have to position this in such a way that there might be some supports that are inside the keyhole, and then you get bumps. So yeah.
I'm softening all the inside corners.
Yeah. I've learned on these keys, I will usually bevel the corners of the square.
There it is.
And I will also make the end not as long as the hole. So
that's clutch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3/4. There we go. Got it. It's in.
Cool. Oh, baby.
Here comes another 1/2 inch. Nope, that's 1
Oh,
inch.
do you
Oh,
have
3/4. Yeah.
engine sag?
Yeah, I know. Do you have engine sag? Try our new engine boards. Yeah, it will. It's more likely that it's just when we're filming it from behind, we're getting help from its own rod.
Yeah.
And when we're not, that we probably want to take a piece of 1/2 inch metal and just throw it in there.
You know, so we were having a discussion so we designed it so that the mounting rod came in the back.
Yep.
But the shot that we landed on, we sound like we might need to go from the side.
We're going to see it both ways. We're going to see it from the front. We're also going to see it from the rear. And we have 2 shots planned for seeing it from the rear. So yeah, we're going to have to make a side mount for this.
So do we think rotate the block then we just...
That was your suggestion, and it's brilliant.
Do we just drill? I mean, I think we'd actually have to cut off or drill through part of this, but I think it's...
let's see what goes on top of this.
Yep.
Because it may be that I can weld up an L that comes in or an angles in, so that sits up there.
It would be this.
Okay, so that's it. All right.
And this is where our electronics are going to live. So this is going to be a magnet attached. So there's going to be all these magnets. And it'll be a magnet attached that we can pop off.
Okay.
So let me...
So I think rather than drill into the landing gear, we can weld a 1/2 inch pin on the end of a pin at an angle. And we can drill through one side here.
Okay.
And basically slide it in, tighten it down.
Be better,
yeah. Let me just figure out
so we can just notch a little bit out of this part to
I'll actually show you what I'm thinking. And then I'm grabbing... All right, so the center of this is coming out this way. And the top is probably about here. So we're probably pulling out about this much material. And if we're going to be mounting it, so we're looking at the ships, we're probably pulling out...
Oh, I see what you're doing. Got it.
Right, we're probably pulling out all of that.
Yep. That's fine.
Yeah, and then that allows me to get a piece with a nubbin that's that long, right? Inch and a inch and a half.
Yep.
And it's going to be coming up at, it's like a 20-degree angle. Maybe, let me see if I can do 30. Yeah, 30.
This is actually my favorite part on it. This is our docking ring. I think this is the docking ring.
Yeah.
But it will come out so that if we need to have switches or anything on there, we can pull that off and beep, bop, boop.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. And this also goes in with magnets.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And this has this ridiculously complicated assembly of little rods and things. I think it's meant to accordion and extend.
Oh, nice. So that'll be a fun scratch build too.
Exactly.
Great.
So then this guy attaches to this with a screw.
All right.
So
What
I
is
think
that? Probably half inch.
yeah.
Yeah. And has this been tapped out?
It has.
Okay.
Yeah. And I realize I put pinholes here, and somehow I forgot to put the pinholes here. But I think that is where they go. So we could put pins in this to keep it from twisting.
Okay. But this is all one unit.
Yep. So that will
So
come
we
off
may
with
want
the
to.
top.
I don't know if you need pins in that, except you might want to throw. Can I even feel this from the other side? I don't think I can. I was thinking about a washer or a couple of washers on. Oh yeah. So I'm feeling it over here. So you could get a nut on there from on the other side and really just cinch them in.
That'd be perfect.
Because
It's
these things,
not
once
gonna
they're
need to come
together,
off.
they're never coming loose. Oh, that's super lightweight. That doesn't need those pins.
And then the idea was that this is going to also have magnets in it that magnets that, so that might help it a little bit. I don't know.
Totally think it will.
All right. So the engines are going to have the nozzles. I left the nozzles separate so that Kate and you could easily paint them. And then they're going to go in here with their lights.
And those get half inch.
I can't hold these all together.
Yeah.
It gets keyed into the engine block right there.
Okay.
And I think that is a half inch, yeah. But we can tap those as well.
Oh, but these just sit here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So they get glued in, and then the lights are run into them.
Gotcha.
And then we can slot them into the engine.
Okay, so we're not gluing these in right
Yeah, we
now.
don't actually need to put these in
No.
right now, but you see how it
Great,
goes.
great.
Yeah. There's going to be a few pieces that we actually glue on. So this would be one, our missile array.
Okay, great.
And we have a gun on the side there.
Fair enough. That looks like a
And-
good screw from the inside.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we have, these are our lasers,
Lasers.
which go on our cockpit.
Okay.
And
Yeah, those are press fits. Nice.
yeah. Now, what I did for the cockpit,
These are not bilaterally symmetrical.
they are not. They're actually
Oh!
not. They're not on the actual ship.
What?
I know.
we added these?
No, that was from the actual 3D model. It's like that in the actual ship.
Oh,
Yeah.
they are
This is
literally the
accurate
same
to
unit,
game.
but
Yep.
flipped.
Yep, unusual, I know.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
All right.
So we did like model kit style. So that.
So you've made masks for
I
the
made
windows?
masks.
Ah, I
And
love
then
it.
here's the beauty of 3D modeling is you're able to select all of those outlines and then extract them as vector files. So I was able to send them to the vinyl cutter and just cut masks.
Wow. And that
Because we can't.
So we'll just slap those on, paint this, and then peel them off, and we get some smoky window
You
action.
got it. And then these are all of our other. So there's a window for there. That'll
Excellent.
be glued in from the back. These are for the cargo hold.
There'll be lights in there.
Yep.
Okay, so that's good. These are extras, yes?
Yeah,
That's an extra, that's
I
an
had some
extra.
extras of these. Oh, we have these. These
Yeah.
are our pods.
Mhm.
One goes in over there.
Okay. Oh, I see. It just sits in
And
the-
these will get glued in as well, I think.
Okay. Yeah, after painting, right?
Yep.
Oh, I see. I've got some...
Oh, there's supports in there? Yep,
Yeah.
I see one too.
I might draw a version of this that can just glue right on top of that,
Yeah.
so that we snip that with some cutoff pliers, and
Beef
you
these
make a
up.
little shelf thing that we just
Yep.
glue it right there.
Beef these up,
Yeah,
reprint them as an insert.
you could
And
even
to be
reprint
honest-
them with these integrally,
Yep.
and then it's just one part, and you attaching it right there.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense.
Yeah. And there's some...
because there's 8 of these.
Yeah,
right?
and there's some strut work that goes from here to here, so that will help attach that as well.
That's
if
great.
It's separate.
I think that's a redraw because I think only 2 survived out of all 8.
I think so.
Yeah.
Which,
Fair enough.
I try to separate things out of the puzzle, but sometimes you're just like, give it a whirl.
It does. It gives you the smallest insight into the ludicrous amount of detail required for
Dude.
even the simplest model kit.
Yes.
Right?
And I got assembly exhaustion because, you get to that point, because if you're going to do that insert, you have to work that out. It's not as simple as just like yanking that out of the model. You
Yeah,
have to make
yeah.
a key and you got to make sure the tolerance is right. And it's a thing. which I should have done.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But you know what? I think I did pretty good on the rest
Dude,
of it,
you
so
really,
I'll take that hit.
No, you really did. It's like there's so many variables to be juggling, and there's so many things are interdependent.
Yeah.
That's the issue, right? It's become super dependent.
Really cool though, and
This is amazing for
and
a dry fit.
Solid. It's solid. I'm happy with how the landing gear worked out.
This is truly amazing
So,
for a dry fit. Oh, there's windows on the sides of the loading
Yeah,
bay.
and I have windows.
Oh,
for
neat.
that.
Oh,
So
that's
we're gonna put a
look
light in
great.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does something. Oh,
So the other thing you'll notice all these
Yeah.
little there's these little holes like right here, these little standoffs like here,
yeah.
here.
Those are struts.
There-
Yeah.
Those are railings
Ah.
that I got really thin brass with. So
Oh, great.
if we have the time,
Oh, well,
and
totally.
we're gonna make little hand railings.
Yes.
And they plug in all those little holes.
Oh,
and then
that's great.
there are little. We have pistons to make for the landing gears.
Excellent.
And then these are standoffs for the railings. Like if you wanted little stanchions, you can put them on there.
I love it. We'll totally be doing that.
So
So as far as I can tell, the biggest issue that we're dealing with here
engine sag.
is the engine sag. Here's what it is. This whole thing lifts right off.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, it's so light. I
Yeah.
love it. No, Sean, I just make a little freaking bridge there, and we tap on both sides.
That's crazy.
That's it.
Yeah, you're
It's
right.
literally boing. All we need is that,
So
and
this
nothing
is,
else will give us
This is
that.
hollow.
Yeah, I know they're both.
Oh
hollow.
wait, you know what? Actually, if you make a hole right about here, there is a thick wall about yay thick, a quarter
Oh,
of an
and
inch.
I also have a little thick wall here.
Yep, I put thick walls at the backs of these so they didn't sag. or
Marvelous.
anything.
I will
Well,
make a little transition piece that goes between there.
Perfect. You'll never see it.
Right. That's the.
That's the.
Is that the 440? Yeah. Wait, I can't remember what I had out. Yeah. All right, this is how this goes. When you are attaching a bridge to anchor or lift something, you attach the anchor point first, and then you attach the second one. And it's here. That's where I'll
Yep.
hit some thick material.
Yep.
Right.
Hooray.
Yeah, because this all gets totally hidden. You could even make a little cap piece that sits on here. Slice that there.
I'll never even see it.
No, because
That's
when this
perfect.
sits here,
Yep, gone.
yeah.
Yeah. Well,
You may want to.
we can dress that.
We can throw some little doohickey, little booger on there.
Yep.
Woohoo! That's great, and that's really solid, Sean.
I feel good.
I mean, I always say this about builds, but like, you've had to put so much of this in your head in the past few weeks.
Yes. It's that laying in bed at night and like, how's that gonna? Ooh, yeah. It's definitely been that.
It'll be fun if in the course of our relationship with Bethesda, you meet some of the modelers of the actual ship, because you guys have chewed on the same mud.
I would really love to. I don't know if that's possible, but I would love to, because while production models are always challenging to get to the point where they can be this. This had some advantages over others, like we talked about, because it's modular ships.
Right.
So
They've
that
made it
alone,
already modular.
That alone really lend itself to like, oh, where should I divide this up? Oh, right here. And it was detailed enough that it looks great even without all the textured detail, and we can make it look just as good as it does in the game. So
it's stunning.
yeah, it's pretty cool. And then once we get Mel's lights in there, we got the thrusters going and all that stuff.
We have a lot of work to do.
Dude, I know, I'm a little nervous.
It is. It's a big bite. We
also
chosen
have
to
all
chew.
that wire routing to do and
Yeah,
whatever. But
yeah.
I did request that Mel used like plugs here at the thrusters so that we can take
Great,
these
yep,
off and all
great.
that kind of stuff. So, and then the only other thing that I need to do is I need to make retracted landing gear for our flying shot.
Ah.
So I'll just take the models of what we have now.
Oh,
Fold them
and
up.
those will be a different thing we bolt into the
I'll
side.
fold them up, make them shorter, and then we'll just unbolt these long ones and put the short ones on.
Great.
So
Great.
yeah.
Sean, it's beautiful.
Yep.
You're going to redraw that, and wow, we'll get to painting, wiring, lighting, and shooting this all in the next couple of weeks. I'm a little tired just thinking about it. Follow along in the coming weeks as the tested team and I continue our work on these models, scratch building, lighting, painting, detailing, and prepping these miniatures for filming. Thanks to Bethesda Game Studios for partnering with us on this project and inviting us to play in their new universe. Starfield launches on Xbox Series X, S, PC, and Game Pass on September 6, 2023, and is rated M for mature. You can find details below or visit www.starfieldgame.com to learn more.